Hello everybody, my name is Rachel and welcome to my channel Kalanati. Today I'm going to review Gods, Monsters, and the Lucky Peach by Kelly Robson. This is a new novella out now from Tor.com Publishing. The publisher did provide me with a digital arc of it, so thank you. I was able to read this in advance and I absolutely loved it. I think the story is set somewhere around the end of the 23rd century, so it is futuristic science fiction. At some point, disasters and ecological destruction drove humanity to move underground into these cities called hells. Diseases and plagues took their toll, and eventually humans were able to emerge and begin restoring parts of the Earth's surface. Now, along restored rivers, they've established carefully planned habitats where they've raised a new generation in creches, what are called the fat babies. The main character is Min, an old woman and also a plague baby who lost both of her legs due to infection as a child, and she now has 6 robotic tentacle-like legs. And she works in a cooperative of other plague babies in the Calgary habitat. For a long time, the ecological restoration initiatives were a big deal, but then this place called Turn discovered time travel. And while time travel isn't good for that much because you can't actually change the direct past, banks would rather fund time travel projects now rather than the ecological restoration. And Min is not happy about this because projects like river restoration have been her life's passion. But then, Min and her cooperative get wind of a new opportunity. Some mysterious backer wants to attempt to use time travel to aid current-day projects. They want to remediate the Mesopotamian area and restore the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. And to do that, they want to send a team back to ancient Mesopotamia in 2024 BCE to do a past state assessment. And Min wants to do it. She wants to bid on the project, and she puts together a team of herself, another plague baby named Hamid, and a fat baby, the young and exuberant Kiki. In the first half of this novella, the team puts together their massive project proposal, and in the second half they meet their Turn tactical historian Fabian, who will guide and protect them in the past. They do actually go to ancient Mesopotamia, where things start to unravel. There's also another perspective. At the beginning of each chapter, there's a snippet of the narrative from the viewpoint of Shulgi, a king of ancient Mesopotamia, and it describes how he and his people and his priestess react to this project. And it's where ancient politics and warfare tactics meet high-tech time travelers. Firstly, I loved the action in the story. The first half of the novella is grant writing and proposal writing and wrangling the resources needed for this project proposal, and I thought it was fascinating. I don't think I've ever read a science fiction story that was this detailed about the paperwork and funding side of big business and science projects. And I really liked that representation. It made me wonder if Kelly Robson herself has experience in grant writing or technical writing. I do, it's sort of what I do for a living. That's probably why I was so excited about seeing it portrayed in a story like this. The rest of the action was also great. So much is accomplished, so much is conveyed in this relatively short novella. It's brisk and crisp and really well developed for the length. This is just an efficiently told story with great characters and fantastic world building, and it's all expertly conveyed in a way that I think completely avoids obvious info dumps. And let me talk a little bit about the characters too, because I think that with so much packed into the story, it could have been way heavier on world building and not given enough time for the characters to develop, but I think it definitely did. A lot of the characters' backgrounds and the type of people that they are is conveyed through the world building and the historical events. Characters like Min and Hamid, who are plague babies and who have lived through a lot of the disasters and plagues in the world, are very different people from somebody like the young Kiki, who's a fat baby and healthy and just at the beginning of her career, versus somebody like Min, who's been working in this area for decades. I particularly enjoyed the dynamic between Min and Kiki. They are such different people who work very differently, and yet they come to mesh very well in this project. You have your older woman and your much younger woman at very different stages in their careers, doing different things, and they have to understand each other and appreciate each other. And Min also has to deal with some things that Kiki decides to do. I can't talk about that because it would be spoilers, but it was one of the most genuinely shocking things in the story that I would love to discuss more. Now jumping over to some of the world building, I want to talk about the technology a little bit. The way that people use and interact with technology in this really reminded me of Malka Older's Sentinel cycle, which begins with infomocracy, probably because both are very digital, always online, always connected worlds. In God's Monsters and the Lucky Peach, there is one bit of technology that I want to talk about because it was so interesting with some definite pros and cons, and that's the fakes. Characters can use these fakes or independently functioning digital avatars to go off and do things online that they themselves don't want to do. So for example, they can send their fake off to join a virtual meeting so that they don't have to. They can have their fake field all of their email and respond to it. You can do that and probably nobody will notice that it's not really you. But characters also get called out for fielding all of their communication with fakes and not actually attending to things themselves. People can miss really important email from friends and family because of this, or come really close to missing really fantastic work opportunities because the fake doesn't recognize it for a legit interesting request. This concept is so cool, but definitely a double-edged sword. Who wouldn't want to send their fake off to handle things that you yourself don't really need to do in person online? But it's so misleading. Your fake could be off acting completely normally while you're at death's door, for example. It could really lead to damaging your relationships if you misuse or rely on your fake too much. But I see the appeal of it. I would really like to have something like that in the real world. And now about that time travel. I don't think the story ever intends to be about the mechanics of how time travel actually works and how it's possible, but it is about the economic uses and ethical dilemmas arising from the use of time travel. It boils down to that age-old question of, can you or should you change the past? Because actions always have consequences. Even if characters can't change the direct past for themselves, their decisions still have consequences. And does that matter? Does that matter to them, their coworkers, or their employer? This story also had some genuinely shocking moments in it that I really liked. Robson throws in some decisions like Kiki's actions to remain on the team and that ending, which left me reeling and like in a good way. It's pretty rare for a story to throw out a curveball that's so shocking like this that I have to physically pause reading and think about how I feel about it. Like, was that right or wrong? As you can probably tell, I really loved this novella. I was intrigued by the cool title and the cover art at first, but when I actually got into it, there were some awesome ideas in this and some genre mashups that I would never have expected, and Robson really made them work. So I think this story has a bit of everything. Even if you're maybe not a time travel fan, I would still recommend it because it has so many other elements that are really great. I mean, it has a little bit of everything: project proposals, grant writing, ecological restoration, time travel, ancient civilizations, and that scene where the old lady with robotic octopus legs rides a bicycle, because that happens too. So definitely let me know if this sounds good to you, or maybe if you've already read it, what you thought about it. And thank you very much for watching this review, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.